Hey, what's up everyone? It's MarkMan81 back with another video, and gotta talk real quick about PWG's Curse of Guerrilla Island. Yeah, it was a fun little show. It wasn't too bad. Nothing special, but it definitely had some good stuff on it. Hey, what's up? First off, we got Brian Cage Taylor taking on Johnny Yuma, and this was Johnny Yuma's first time in PWG. He's a West Coast talent, and he was out there with what do you have, pink tiger striped tights, and this was actually a pretty good match. Very back and forth, fast paced, and eventually Brian Cage Taylor's stablemates, Chuck Taylor and Ryan Taylor came out, and they beat the crap out of Johnny Yuma at the end, which brought out Romero and Johnny Goodtime, two guys who later also have matches with two members of the Taylor trio, where they're the fighting Taylor guys, the Taylor brothers. So yeah. Next match we had another PWG intergender match, and they do a lot of these, but this match wasn't as entertaining as most of them. We had Peter Avalon versus Candice LeRae, and I think it's because I don't really like Peter Avalon too much. I don't know, just something about him. He was trying to play the creepo out there, the sexual cretin, and he did it to good effect, but for the most part, I just wasn't interested in this particular match. Although I did get pretty decent towards the end and had a pretty good ending too, so I guess it wasn't all bad. Yeah, next up we got Romero versus Ryan Taylor, and yeah, this was a solid match, but the thing I don't like about Ryan Taylor is the fact that it seems like his whole moveset derives from like other wrestlers. Like it's just a pure carbon copy. Like every move you could just like pick of a wrestler where it came from. Like I saw the go to sleep. Saw quite a few other moves that I can't remember off the top of my head that were just like unoriginal. And like a lot of wrestlers do use other moves that other wrestlers have used, but it just seemed like his whole moveset just was somebody else's, just one move from this guy, another move from that guy, and it kind of took me out of the match a little bit, because I felt like, Ryan Taylor, he could be a really good wrestler, and he is a solid wrestler. It just feels like he's too much of a copycat. Hold on one second. Alright. Yeah, so next up we got the Briscoes taking on the Cutler brothers, and this is a pretty good match. This is their first meeting in PWG, or anywhere for that matter. Yeah, some very solid stuff. We definitely would like to see these guys actually feud. I think it could result in a lot of pretty memorable matches. And so then we had first post-intermission match. We had Johnny Goodtime versus Chuck Taylor. Yeah, this was a pretty good match. I always like Johnny Goodtime. He's definitely a good young up-and-comer, and Chuck Taylor, I'm always a big fan of his. And don't remember too much about this match, but I remember there was one point where Chuck Taylor wrecked a fan out in the crowd, which was kind of cool. The fan himself seemed pretty, wouldn't say happy, but I guess was a moment that I could definitely remember. Yeah, and at the end, the rest of the Tyler crew, Brian Cage Taylor and Ryan Taylor came out and beat down Johnny Goodtime at the end. So there's that. And yeah, next up we had Generico versus Ricochet, and this was a really, really good match. I enjoyed the hell out of this. It just built so good from the beginning to the end. And it was really cool to see Generico play that grizzled veteran. It was definitely a different dynamic, and he brought a lot more intensity than he usually does in most of his PWG matches. Maybe not quite the intensity that he was bringing out through his feud and ROH with Kevin Steen, but there was definitely a lot there. Was a lot of innovative stuff here. This match was fun as hell, and both guys looked really great. And Generico put over Ricochet like a motherfucker in this match. I mean, he made him look good. And yeah, I would say Ricochet was definitely made a star in PWG on that night. I think I would definitely call it match of the night, and definitely worth seeing. Definitely worth the price of the DVD alone. And then we have main event match, and it's It's a 4-way for the PWG title, which was vacated from Davey Richards, which beforehand was vacated from Kenny Omega. And this featured Claudio versus Chris Hero versus Brendan Gatson and versus Joey Ryan. Yeah, this was a really good match. It wasn't terribly long, but for a match with 4 big men, it was just incredible action just from beginning to end and never let up. Some good interactions with the Kings of Wrestling, Claudio and Chris Hero. Definitely played up the fact that, they're tag team. And every time they got into a position, one was getting the pin, the other one would pull the other off. And a little tension was building. It never boiled over, but the tension was there throughout the match. Because obviously, you're in a main event match, it's a title match. You obviously want to win, and wouldn't even want to let your partner win if you could stop that. And but they played off that dynamic very well. Brandon Gatson looked really good, and Joey Ryan, he's really up his game, I would say, the past few months. He's really dropping the whole sleazy gimmick and just really getting serious about everything. He's definitely gotten into shape. His look is much better. But yeah, Claudio with the win, with the PWG champ, and the crowd was definitely into it. And according to his post-match promo, he will be back. So yeah, that was a pretty solid show. There's not too much anything that was really bad on the show at all. Not the greatest PWG show, but it's definitely worth the $14.95. I recommend picking up. I think I'll have to go with a 7.75. Yeah, that's about it. Markman81. Later.